everything is crazy, right? Everyone's talking about what's going on in Kenosha, Wisconsin, what's going on with Trump, what's going on with Biden. I have updates about those things too. But meanwhile, there's real life going on. Yeah, not this abstract life that we deal with online. Not what's going on Facebook. Oh no, they put me in Facebook jail. Oh no, they're suppressing me on Twitter. I've said that a couple times too. They're suppressing me on Twitter. That sounds like some punk stuff, don't it? Well, it does sound punkish if you compare it to what's happening in the real world to a lot of people right now. You know, since they stopped the moratorium on rent, well, they gave a 30-day grace period, and now it's starting to kick in. Well, kick out, I should say. They're starting to kick out people. People are starting to be evicted all across the country. Meanwhile, Congress goes home, takes a little break. They took a nap. Meanwhile, we don't get to take naps. Some of us are napping in our cars. Entire families are being put on the street right now, Johnson.
Hello? Constable, you need to come to the door.
From one Houston home to the next.
Hello, Constable.
Deputy Benny Gant with the Harris County Constable's Office executes judge's orders to evict.
Hello, Constable.
We ain't got nowhere to go.
Israel Rodriguez is a tenant at this apartment, but he's not alone. 20-month-old Israel, his brother, 4-year-old Fabian, and their mother are some of the estimated 40 million Americans facing eviction in the downward spiral of the COVID economy.
They didn't rush us, but they were like, get everything you need.
Rodriguez admits he hasn't been paying rent, behind thousands of dollars.
It's my fault in the eviction. It was a lot going on during the corona. When it hit, I lost my job. So it took me like a month to get another job. This is my check, but I ain't making it with $300. It's literally $300.
Their stroller now carries their possessions.
It's mainly the kids' clothes because me and her just wear the same clothes almost every day. Make sure we got, toilet paper and a little bit of snacks for the kids.
What are you going to do with all of your stuff?
That's trash. They get thrown in the trash because we don't have a car. We don't have help. We don't have nobody that can come, help us out right now. Nobody. We got ourselves, me and the kids and her. That's it.
How does you as law enforcement feel about seeing that family have to go?
Oh, it's a tough situation. I've got 6 kids, 6 children. And, the kids see the mom and dad in desperate situations. It's tough. That's fair.
Deputy Gant, an officer for 35 years, is just starting his day. 8 evictions are on his list.
A co-defendant is here, 2 of them.
At each stop, people behind on rent are ordered to leave. Possessions pulled out.
Where are you guys going to go now?
We gotta go to a hotel.
You can go to a hotel?
As Deputy Gant works through his list, we get word that 200 eviction orders have come through the Harris County courts for this week. That's double what they normally saw for an entire month before COVID.
200 on Monday. What does that...
Well, that's a lot, yeah.
What does that say to you?
Well, what that means is that they're ready to start having people removed from properties.
It is a backlog, but it's also just one precinct in one of America's hardest hit cities in evictions. The job takes its toll.
I don't really want to put her out here, but I have to under this judge's order.
At this apartment, the tenant is an elderly woman who can no longer afford the rent. The landlord's mover, Francisco Munoz, works, though he doesn't want to.
I have a family, I have a sister, I have my mom, and we never know. Maybe today is her, tomorrow's me,
Midway through the eviction, Deputy Gant decides it's too dangerous to evict her in the Houston summer heat.
I'm not going to put her out here in this heat.
And will call social services instead.
You're going to stay today, but tomorrow you're leaving.
A one-day reprieve with an uncertain tomorrow.
You have a situation where people aren't working, they don't have the money, and they're desperate.
Yeah, Benny seemed real broke up about having to put these families out on the street. But he did it anyway. Yeah, did it anyway. I feel really bad about, you and your kids having nowhere to go, but if it's not going to be me, it's going to be somebody else to just fire me and put me out on the street, and then somebody else will come put you out tomorrow or later today. Because we don't have minds of our own. We do whatever we're told to do. And according to this paper, you don't matter. That's why I always laugh to myself a little inside when I hear people complain about people rioting or protesting or whatever you want to call it, people breaking stuff. I always laugh a little. Do you see what's going on out here? I'm going to tell you something, a little secret. Happy people don't burn shit. Happy people, stable people with with money coming in to feed their families don't destroy anything because they're too busy being happy. Have you ever been happy? And I don't mean the crazy white folks who win a game and then go crazy and burn down the city. I don't mean that. Besides celebrating, okay? But have you ever been happy and decided, hey, I'm so happy, I'd like to burn everything because I'm so damn happy. I was just looking at my wife the other day and thought to myself, let me just burn up the house because we're so happy. See, Americans are struggling. And what is our government doing for us? They're distracting us with BS. Now, the CDC is halting evictions, citing COVID-19 risks. The Trump administration's announced an order on Tuesday to bar evictions for most renters for the rest of the year as the nation grapples with the pandemic. The order put forward by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention said the action was needed to stop the spread of the coronavirus and to avoid having renters wind up in shelters or other crowded living conditions, which would compound the crisis. So it's not because they care about you as much as you think. It's, well, you're just going to infect people. So, yeah, we got to do something. We can't just let you, live in shelters and die all close together that way. Least you can do is go die in your own home. The moratorium will go further than the eviction ban under the Pandemic Cares Act, which covered as many as 12.3 million renters in apartment complexes or single-family units. That provision expired in July, though landlords could not begin eviction proceedings for 30 days. So, now there's a catch to all of this. There's a moratorium. It's going to be extended. Hopefully a lot of people will avoid living on the street. But it's a temporary avoidance. Because remember, guys, this is only a suspension. If you owe $5,000, $20,000, whatever you owe, you're going to still owe it after this. It's not like it's going away. Your amount of rent that you owe is not going away. The amount of mortgage that you owe is not going away. They're just going to say, we're going to pause. So whenever they decide to unpause it, we're going to end up right back where we are, which is mass evictions, mass foreclosures, because they won't do right by American citizens. They don't want to do right by us and just say, okay, it's a pandemic. Let me bail out the people. Now, they'll do that for corporations, even corporations who don't need it. But they won't do it for you. It's an amazing thing to watch these Trump supporters pretend Trump cares about them. Pretend. Why isn't Trump fighting to have this money allocated to you? Trump supporter? What, you're not worth it? You're lazy? You're not willing to work? No. Your job closed down. Or they couldn't operate due to the coronavirus, right? Right? There are all types of reasons, right? Valid reasons. Why isn't your president helping you? And I would be saying the same thing whether it was Obama or whether it was Trump or whoever it might be. The criticism should remain the same. I know what it is. You just don't want to admit the reality. You know the reality as well as I do. America doesn't care about its citizens. Why is it that other westernized nations have decided to give their people more money? Why are they making sure that their people stay indoors? Why is it that Benny Gant, needs to be patted on the back for not putting the 95-year-old woman on the street in 102-degree weather, only to tell her, I'll be back tomorrow when the weather breaks? This country needs a lobotomy or a heart. One of those.